Hello, I'm the Arizona Silverback, and welcome to the Friday Show. The Friday Show is a little different. During the week, we like to show jiu-jitsu moves, talk about comedy, do other things. Um, this show is a little more about you guys, okay? And I'm going to share a story today. I'm also going to answer some questions. Let's start with the story, and this is some of my students' favorite story. So here I was, uh, high level purple belt. At the time, I was competing all over the place. I was actually in the IBJJF system. I was top 50 in the world, and I was in Colorado. And the gym owner is such a nice guy. The people there, they are wonderful people, and I was actually blessed. I felt blessed to be able to spend the time with them that I did. Well, anyway, I stopped by, and it's a Salo Ribeiro gym. And I'm a Carlson Gracie guy, so I'm familiar with like the Carlson Gracie and the Gracie Jiu Jitsu like lineage. But I went out there as I'm a competition guy, and I compete a lot all over the place. So but I can take it easy on lower belts. Like I'm a good role. I own my own gym, and I was really excited to be there. So just let them know that stuff beforehand. Well, anyway, here we are. We're getting going, and they put me out in the middle. So they do like a circuit where they have different people out there, and I was used to, you keep your spot if you stay in, or if you keep your spot if you submit the people or you take them down. Like your King of the Hill type scenario. Well, anyway, the first guy I get out is a brown belt. He comes out, and I do real well with him. I get him on his back, and put him in a dangerous spot, and he circles out. Then I get a white belt, and if anybody doesn't know what a green belt is, a green belt is in the kids program. It's kind of a unicorn belt. It's the black belt of the kids belts. So you see a green belt, they're a unicorn, they're magical, and they're most likely to tear the crap out of you. Well, here's this adult walking out, and when he's walking out, he has a green belt on. So I kind of gauge my roles dictating the hardness, dictating the rank. Well, I didn't recognize the rank, so I took this green belt, and I went pretty hard, and I got him on the ground. I was like, yeah, you're not gonna get me. Well, and then a couple more people went through another green belt, and I took this green belt, and so on and so forth. Well, at the end of the class, I'll go up to him and say, hey man, I'm terribly sorry, but I don't know what a green belt is. What is a green belt in your system? He's like, oh yeah, no, a green belt is a 2-stripe and above. I'm like, a 2-stripe what? He's like, white belt. So here I was, not realizing it goes for them. It goes white, green, blue. So I thought this was an advanced belt, and here I was tearing the shit out of some white belts. Man, I felt so bad. I like when it hit me what I had done, the realization of what I had done, it looked like a ghost came over my face. Like I said, I had no idea. I'm so sorry. I've been tearing your guys apart. Um, and he's like, I was wondering why you're being so mean to him, but like, when it hit me, man, I felt so bad. I apologized so many times. I was like, I swear I didn't know. We don't have that in my system, but Salo Ribeiro, their system, some of their schools have that. And the first time I experienced it, and it was the middle of rolls, and oops, I actually tore the shit out of a bunch of white belts. My bad. That said, so there's a story today to share with you guys. My students love when I tell it because it always helps to educate yourself before you do things. And the Friday show is really about education and some stories and just some personal stuff as well. Let's begin. So, Tribalman. So how do you recommend dealing with people who don't tap? Who take the submission and lie there without defending, just taking the pain and waiting for you to move on. And waiting for you to move on to something else, knowing that you won't injure them. Okay, so this is a great question. The reason is because we all have to deal with those guys who won't or don't tap. For me personally, if they're an upper belt, I'll break their shit off. My job as a jiu-jitsu practitioner is not to is tell people when they've had enough. My job, at least against upper belts, so I say blue and up, is not to tell them when to submit. My job is to submit them. So if they don't tap, their shit gets broken. That's not me being mean or trying to hurt the person. Every now and then I'll get to one I know it's tight and I'll stop and pause, like leg locks. So leg locks, I keep people safe. I have to, because if I don't, everybody will get hurt. The problem with leg locks, it goes tight to broke quick. Where you have a little more resilience in the shoulders and you have a little more resilience in the neck, like if somebody doesn't tap on a choke, they just go to sleep. They'll wake up, they'll be fine. But if it's a submission, I'll get it and I'll keep going and I'll go slow. That's the thing, is I go slow to give them time to think about what the heck's going on. And as I continue to submit, if it breaks, it's not my fault. My job is not to keep them safe. My job is to apply the submission and let until they tap. So if they don't tap and it gets broken, it's on them. Now, the only exception to this rule is white belts. I'm not going to go and break the legs off some white belt. It doesn't make sense. I don't want to hurt somebody who's brand new and doesn't understand that how serious this could become and how quickly this can turn into an injury that they won't recover from. So in white belt, when I submit people, I focus on not just the submission, but the level of control I have while having the submission. So for instance, like an Americana, it's an easy one that we all know. When I get the key lock and I bring it in and I lock it in, before I submit, I make sure that I apply just enough pressure that I know that it's tight. From there, I'll be like, hey, just so you know, if you tap when it's tight and instead of when it hurts, you're going to be fine. But if you tap when it hurts, before you know it's going to go. And when it goes, they won't recover from this without surgery. So I'll apply a little bit more and I'll let them kind of like squirm around like they do and go. Now, if they don't tap, I keep going. And it sucks to have to be that guy. But really, it's not your fault for them putting you there. Maybe you're just not applying it right. Maybe, because if you're applying the move correctly, they should tap. And it's such a fine line of being a kind of a douchebag and being a good partner. A good partner goes until the person taps. However, if they're new, that's the only exception to that rule. Do not hurt new people. They don't know any better. But upper belts do. So if they're not tapping, or if they have too much pride, it's not your job to keep them safe. Their job is to tell you when they've had enough. That's what the tap does. They tell you when they've had enough. And over the years I've been grappling, I run into people like this all the time. You get the submission to a certain point and you attack it. I attack it slow, but I continue. Now in a tournament, I count to 5. I'll hit a spot where I know it's about to break. I'll count to 5 and then I'll just break it. My job is to apply the submission. Their job is to tap. So there you go. That answers your question, but it's such a tricky question because nobody wants to hurt their training partners. But at the same point, it's their job to tell you when they've had enough, not your job to tell them when they've had enough. Keep yourself safe. Tap early, tap often. The next thing, Grimes. Now, this is an interesting question. It's a hard one for me to answer because the demographic changes from school to school and place to place, city to city, instructor to instructor. But I have a good mix, about 60-40 right now between men and women. And my mix is because of a couple of reasons, but let's get to the question. Let's not put the cart before the horse. Do you think there's something easy gyms can do to get more women training? Now, if we really look at this, I have the majority of my women that I have training at my school are either girlfriends or wives or family members of members that train here. How I got so many women is actually give really killer discounts. So I focus not on trying to make a bunch of money on families. So the first member will pay their membership due, and for us that's $125 a month. That's unlimited training. I don't do any of that bull crap. I don't do long-term contracts. Like, I keep it as simple as I can because I care about the member and I don't want to put a financial burden on them just so they can come and train with me. My family discount starts there. So like the first member pays full price, the next member will pay $50. After the $50 for the next person, it's $25 a person in that household, because just because you have more people in your family doesn't mean you have more money. So how I have so many families is because I really focus on a heavy family discount. Well, men usually start training. Well, it usually goes kids first, dad starts training, and then mom starts training. And then, mom brings a sister or a friend to train with, and it continues to grow. So it starts with the first member, and then I give killer family discounts, and that's how I have so many ladies in my gym. Now, I don't think that's the key to success because what it does is it hurts my pockets. But I'd rather have more people training than deeper pockets. I didn't get into coaching jiu-jitsu because I'm looking to make a bunch of money, and there's schools that do, and they're all about the money. I got into it because I had a job that made a lot of money, and I was freaking miserable. So I quit that and started this, and I make a lot less. I make a lot less, but I put my head on my pillow at nighttime, and I sleep well because I work a job that I love, and it due to my actions, a lot of people get to live a better life. That helps them. Jiu-jitsu has a funny way of helping you in life, and I somehow become a direct impression on that. So, different gyms, different things. Everybody's got to eat though. Okay, next question. This one is from Mark Chappell, UK. Hi, Silverback. When did you start teaching, and how did you learn to help students of different body types, abilities, and explaining techniques? So I started teaching wrestling when I was 16, but I moved into teaching jiu-jitsu when I was 18. But I finally had my own class at a school where I was being paid at 21. And different body types, overall, what you'll learn is that there's moves that everybody should be able to hit the move, but there's moves that people can hit better. So like, for instance, a long leg person, what do you expect him to get? Triangles, right? A short, stocky person most likely is going to have an up game. A top game, he's going to be hitting gi, paper cutters, Americanas, maybe full mount, pressure, submission. You learn that there's more of a favorite trend amongst people, but they should all be able to do the move, especially as they diet and get in shape and they get better, right? So I've been teaching for quite a while now, and honestly what helped me to like how to make the variants for people in the moves is that experience over the years has told me what I can use with different body types and use with different people. But the experience isn't just a teaching experience. A lot of it too is just learning different ways to do things. So I'll go to teach a student and be like, oh, I can't do it this way, so I'll have to make some alterations so the move still works. But taking seminars, watching YouTube videos, training with my professor, training with other upper belts, and sharing. So like if I hit a submission, I'll actually share, or if somebody hits a submission on me, I'll ask questions or I'll share. And in this process of training and rolling and growing, I learned different ways to teach, as well as I've learned different ways to do things myself. The first way you might learn it might not be the best way for you, but you learned it that way. All of a sudden, after a few years, you learn it a different way. You like that one better, and you might even teach that way, but somebody might struggle with the way you're doing it and realize the other one's better for them. So experience really is what comes to mind when thinking about how to teach different body types. But also, Mark, looks like you're a Carlson Gracie guy. I love me my Carlson Gracie guys. Thank you for watching. Now, what I plan on doing real quick is I'm going to pick today the different guys, and we're going to put it on an up chat so you guys can vote for who you want to win a free gi. This month we're giving a free gi away. Next month we might give another gi away next month too. So that'll be for next week's video. And now you know.